Lin Feng had never felt so at ease. Ever since he came to the medium kiliocosm, he had never accompanied his family properly. Now, he could finally accompany his family properly, especially his wife. From the beginning to the end, Lin Feng's closest family was still his wife. This was because both his son and daughter had their own family. They had even become ancestors themselves and had a huge family. Lin Feng felt that his wife, Chu Chun, was the one he owed the most. Hence, Lin Feng accompanied his wife, Chu Chun, properly. In any case, he was in the medium kiliocosm now. Without the threat of the epical cataclysm, his wife's lifespan was almost infinite. There was no need for cultivation at all. After 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 100 years, 1,000 years, 10,000 years, Lin Feng had never rested for so long. In this long period of time, Lin Feng had never been worried about small kiliocosm origin, nor did he deliberately study the principle of spacetime. Everything happened naturally, as if time was meaningless to him. 1 trillion years, 10 trillion years. Unknowingly, an epoch had passed. Without the acceleration of time, an epoch passed naturally for Lin Feng. He could already sense that the epical cataclysm was approaching. However, the 5th epical cataclysm was nothing to Lin Feng. In an epoch, Lin Feng's 5 chaos dojos found close to 700 small kiliocosms in succession. Hence, Lin Feng now had a total of 12,000 small kiliocosms. The 12,000 small kiliocosms provided almost 2,400 complete portions of small kiliocosm origins in an epoch. This was a daunting number. Even a 6 cataclysm kiliocosm sovereign would be extremely envious if he knew. Including the original 1,000 portions of small kiliocosm origin Lin Feng had, among which a few hundred portions of small kiliocosm origin were still left. In total, Lin Feng had a terrifying 3,000 portions of small kiliocosm origin. A total of 3,000 portions of small kiliocosm origin. How shocking was this? Forget about the 5th epical cataclysm. It was enough to manage to survive the 6th epical cataclysm. Moreover, what surprised Lin Feng even more was that the 5 chaos dojos could already increase the number of small kiliocosms in succession. They did not just consume resources. After all, Lin Feng's current foundation was much more chaotic than the foundation of other kiliocosm sovereigns. Every one of the 5 chaos dojos could not be underestimated. Over an epoch, the addition of 700 small kiliocosms was the most important thing. Normally, the dojos of a 4 cataclysm kiliocosm sovereign would only gain 100 to 200 or 200 small kiliocosms in an epoch. For the rest, they would have to rely on various clever methods to seize and plunder small kiliocosm origin to survive the 5th epical cataclysm. Otherwise, they could only wait for death. Lin Feng's 5 chaos dojos actually only controlled 700 small kiliocosms in an epoch. The efficiency was actually relatively low. That was because, after all, there was only one pseudo-kiliocosm sovereign. Without deductions from Lin Feng, a 4 cataclysm kiliocosm sovereign, their deduction ability was naturally slightly inferior. Moreover, they were short of manpower. However, as time passed, the efficiency would definitely increase greatly in the next epoch. In fact, it was not impossible for there to be more than 1,000 small kiliocosms. Rumble finally, one day the epical cataclysm in Lin Feng's internal small kiliocosm finally erupted. This epical cataclysm was surging and majestic, as if capable of sweeping through and destroying everything. Even the river of spacetime was vaguely unstable. After all, the foundation of the river of spacetime was still the small kiliocosm. If the small kiliocosm was destroyed, the river of spacetime would naturally disappear without a trace. Moreover, the small kiliocosm was Lin Feng's foundation. If the small kiliocosm collapsed, he would fall. This epical cataclysm was even more terrifying than Lin Feng had expected. However, Lin Feng was already sufficiently prepared. A large amount of small kiliocosm origin began to repair the collapsed small kiliocosm. In the epical cataclysm, traces of cataclysmic power seeped into the river of spacetime, but it had no effect at all. After 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, the duration of the epical cataclysm in Lin Feng's body was very long, lasting for 100 years. Finally, under Lin Feng's massive amount of small kiliocosm origin, the fifth epical cataclysm gradually subsided, and his small kiliocosm also began to expand wildly. After every epical cataclysm, the small kiliocosm would expand by 10 or 100 times. Just the power of the small kiliocosm could easily suppress weaker kiliocosm sovereigns. This was also why it was very difficult for kiliocosm sovereigns to challenge someone above their level. If not for the fact that Lin Feng had the principle of spacetime that surpassed all rules, he could also forget about challenging someone above his level. 5 Cataclysm Kiliocosm Sovereign. Lin Feng opened his eyes, still a little dazed. In this epoch, he had almost done nothing and cultivated nothing. However, becoming a 5 Cataclysm Kiliocosm Sovereign was a piece of cake for him, and he almost encountered no trouble at all. This feeling was unprecedentedly relaxing. Moreover, the amount of small kiliocosm origin consumed was only a little more than expected. Close to 1,100 portions of small kiliocosm origin was nothing to Lin Feng, who had as many as 3,000 portions of small kiliocosm origin. Even the 6th epical cataclysm only required more than 2,000 portions of small kiliocosm origin. In another epoch, small kiliocosm origin could still be obtained continuously from Lin Feng's small kiliocosms. Hence, the 6th epical cataclysm did not pose any challenge to Lin Feng either. However, the 7th epical cataclysm was a little troublesome, or rather, difficult. Many 6 cataclysm kiliocosm sovereigns had fallen to the 7th epical cataclysm. The reason was very simple. The small kiliocosm origin required for the 7th epical cataclysm was almost more than 10 times that of the 6th epical cataclysm. Lin Feng had the spacetime physique, which was the most special physique. He probably needed even more small kiliocosm origin. Even though there were still 2 epochs before the 7th epical cataclysm, Lin Feng felt that it was time to take precautions. Otherwise, he might not be able to collect so much small kiliocosm origin in an epoch. At the very least, collecting it step by step definitely would not be enough. He had to think of other methods. Perhaps I can find some trouble with the other kiliocosm sovereigns. If Lin Feng took the initiative to cause trouble for the other kiliocosm sovereigns, it would violate his principles. Although Lin Feng was not a good person, Lin Feng could not possibly destroy other unfamiliar kiliocosm sovereigns just for the sake of the small kiliocosm origin for no reason. This violated his principles. However, there was almost no other way. After all, with Lin Feng's current authority, who would dare to take the initiative to provoke him? At this moment, Lin Feng received an urgent distress call from Kiliocosm Sovereign Skyheart. Chaos Kiliocosm Sovereign. Chaos Kiliocosm Sovereign. Save me. I'm hunted down by Kiliocosm Sovereign Ethereal, near the Troll Forbidden Zone, one of the 10 forbidden zones. After Lin Feng received this message, a trace of surprise appeared on his face. However, Kiliocosm Sovereign Skyheart could be considered Lin Feng's only friend in the medium kiliocosm at the moment. Hence, after weighing things for a moment, Lin Feng still felt that he must save Kiliocosm Sovereign Skyheart. Swoosh. Hence, Lin Feng disappeared from the Chaos Dojo and warped towards the Troll Forbidden Zone. Kiliocosm Sovereign Skyheart, you can't escape. Near the Troll Forbidden Zone, Kiliocosm Sovereign Skyheart's face was pale. He was using all his strength to escape the pursuers behind him. That was Kiliocosm Sovereign Ethereal, a peak 5 Cataclysm Kiliocosm Sovereign. He had Kiliocosm Sovereign Skyheart at his mercy. Boom! The vast small kiliocosm power descended. Immediately, Kiliocosm Sovereign Skyheart seemed to be enduring infinite pressure. Cracks almost appeared in his small kiliocosm. It was as if his small kiliocosm would collapse with a moment of carelessness. At this point, Kiliocosm Sovereign Skyheart was really at the end of his rope. He had fled the entire way and was severely injured by Kiliocosm Sovereign Ethereal. Now that he was at his limit, he no longer had the strength to escape. Hence, Kiliocosm Sovereign Skyheart stopped running and stayed where he was. What? You're not running anymore. Kiliocosm Sovereign Ethereal sneered. He had been pursuing Kiliocosm Sovereign Skyheart for a period of time. He did not expect Kiliocosm Sovereign Skyheart, a mere 4 Cataclysm Kiliocosm Sovereign, to have so many abilities. Moreover, it seemed like he had a deep accumulation of the small kiliacosm origin. It took Kiliacosm's sovereign ethereal a long time to catch up. Kiliacosm's sovereign sky heart's face was pale, but his gaze was very determined. He said in a low voice, Kiliacosm's sovereign ethereal, what opportunities we can obtain in the troll forbidden zone depends on our own abilities. Aren't you afraid that the other Kiliacosm sovereigns will deal with you the same way? A sharp glint flashed across the Kiliacosm sovereign's eyes. He sneered, Kiliacosm's sovereign sky heart, have you lost your wits after becoming a 4-cataclysm Kiliacosm sovereign? I'm about to pass the 6th epical cataclysm, and even now I'm not even confident that I can survive it. Hence, the gains in the forbidden zone this time are crucial. You asked me not to hunt you down. How is that possible? As for the other stronger Kiliacosm sovereigns, if they hunt me down, I'll accept it. Moreover, even if a 6-cataclysm Kiliacosm sovereign hunts me down, I'm certain I can escape. Kiliacosm sovereign ethereal was determined to hunt down Kiliacosm sovereign sky heart. To be precise, it was Kiliacosm sovereign sky heart's gains. After all, Kiliacosm sovereign sky heart had gained a lot in the troll forbidden zone. All right, Kiliacosm sovereign ethereal, since you're so demanding, don't blame me for this. You should know that I once had some friendship with the Chaos Kiliacosm sovereign. I've already contacted the Chaos Kiliacosm sovereign just now. He's already rushing over. When the time comes, Kiliacosm sovereign ethereal, you'll be in danger. Kiliacosm sovereign sky heart gritted his teeth and said, the Chaos Kiliacosm sovereign? Hearing this, the Kiliacosm sovereign ethereal's expression changed slightly, and a trace of wariness clearly appeared in his eyes. Perhaps Kiliacosm sovereign ethereal was not even afraid of a 6-cataclysm Kiliacosm sovereign, but facing the Chaos Kiliacosm sovereign, who had been at the height of his fame in the recent epic, he had no choice but to be extremely wary. Humph, so what if it's the Chaos Kiliacosm sovereign? Why would he come for you? Even if he could come, I would have long obtained your treasures and entered the troll forbidden zone. At that time, I'll become a 6-cataclysm Kiliacosm sovereign. Why would I be afraid of the Chaos Kiliacosm sovereign? Therefore, it's useless no matter what you say today. Hand over the troll key, or die. Hearing this, Kiliacosm sovereign sky heart's face turned even paler. He originally wanted to stall for time and use Lin Feng's name to slightly intimidate Kiliacosm sovereign ethereal. However, Kiliacosm sovereign ethereal ignored it. Moreover, Kiliacosm sovereign sky heart did not know if Lin Feng would come. After all, his little friendship with Lin Feng previously was actually nothing much. Most of it was just an exchange of interests. He was not confident that Lin Feng would rush over. Hence, Kiliacosm sovereign sky heart could only resist by force now. He would not hand over this treasure no matter what. Once he handed it over, he was destined to not be able to obtain more small Kiliacosm origin. At that time, only death awaited him. Recently, he had been plagued by cataclysmic power. It would be extremely difficult for him to survive the 5th epoch. Hence, if he handed it over, he would die. If he did not, he could at least hold out for a period of time. I have to fight to the death. Kiliacosm sovereign sky heart mobilized his small Kiliacosm power again. The small Kiliacosm reappeared, emitting a massive aura. He was going to use the small Kiliacosm to fight to the death. You're overestimating yourself. Kiliacosm sovereign ethereal snorted coldly. How could a mere 4-cataclysm Kiliacosm sovereign resist the power of a 5-cataclysm Kiliacosm sovereign like him? Hence, a magnificent and huge small Kiliacosm suddenly smashed towards the Kiliacosm sovereign sky heart. This smash was enough to severely injure Kiliacosm sovereign sky heart, and even tear apart his small Kiliacosm. He did not believe that, in a life-or-death situation, Kiliacosm sovereign sky heart would still refuse to hand over the troll key. Seeing the majestic strike of the ethereal venerable, Kiliacosm sovereign sky heart's heart sank. He knew that everything was over. There was no way he could withstand this strike. Rumble. Kiliacosm sovereign ethereal's small Kiliacosm smashed fiercely into Kiliacosm sovereign sky heart's small Kiliacosm. An unstoppable force acted on Kiliacosm sovereign sky heart. At that moment, Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart could even sense the aura of death. Buzz. Suddenly, a huge river of spacetime appeared between the two of them. Moreover, the river of spacetime swept up Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart directly. No matter how Kiliakosm Sovereign Ethereal's small Kiliakosm smashed down, it could not touch the river of spacetime at all. Chaos Kiliakosm Sovereign. You're finally here. Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart was extremely excited. He looked at Lin Feng with gratitude. He was just a little bit away from having his small completely shattered. At that time, even a medium Kiliakosm Sovereign probably could not save him. This time, Lin Feng had saved his life. Lin Feng frowned and looked at Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart. Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart. How did you end up like this? Indeed, the current Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart could be said to be in a sorry state. He was surrounded by cataclysmic power, and his small Kiliakosm was severely damaged. It seemed as if he would fall at any moment. Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart smiled weakly and said, Chaos Kiliakosm Sovereign, I was originally searching for opportunities in the Troll Forbidden Zone, and obtained the Troll Key by chance, but I was targeted by Kiliakosm Sovereign Ethereal and hunted all the way here. If Chaos Kiliakosm Sovereign hadn't arrived in time, I'm afraid I would already be dead. Kiliakosm Sovereign Ethereal? Lin Feng looked at the Kiliakosm Sovereign Ethereal not far away. He was in the river of spacetime. The mighty river of spacetime gave off a mysterious air. Lin Feng stepped out of the river of spacetime. As for Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart, he was the safest in the river of spacetime. As long as Lin Feng did not reverse time, Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart would remain at the moment time was stopped. He was very safe. Kiliakosm Sovereign Ethereal's expression was very dark. He said in a low voice, Chaos Kiliakosm Sovereign, this matter has nothing to do with you. Please do not interfere. However, Lin Feng shook his head and said, Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart is my friend. Since he asked me for help, I naturally have to interfere in this matter. Kiliakosm Sovereign, can you let this matter rest out of respect for me? With that, Lin Feng emitted the aura of the 5 Cataclysm Kiliakosm Sovereign. Kiliakosm Sovereign Ethereal was immediately shocked. 5 Cataclysm Kiliakosm Sovereign? That's right. I just survived the 5th epical cataclysm not long ago. Seeing that Lin Feng had already become a 5 Cataclysm Kiliakosm Sovereign, Kiliakosm Sovereign Ethereal could only grit his teeth and say, All right, out of respect for you, Chaos Kiliakosm Sovereign, this matter is over. Swoosh. With that, Kiliakosm Sovereign Ethereal turned around and left the Troll Forbidden Zone without hesitation. He left. Seeing that the Kiliakosm Sovereign Ethereal had left so decisively without even a trace of hesitation, Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart could not help but be very surprised. It had to be known that the Kiliakosm Sovereign was a dignified Kiliakosm Sovereign at the peak of 5 Cataclysm. He had actually left without a word after meeting Lin Feng. Was Lin Feng really that influential? This also made Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart reevaluate Lin Feng's current reputation in the entire medium Kiliakosm. It seemed to be even more terrifying than he had imagined. Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart knew better than anyone what it meant to be able to make a peak 5 Cataclysm Kiliakosm Sovereign retreat and leave directly with just a title. Lin Feng was not surprised by the departure of Kiliakosm Sovereign Ethereal. Instead, he found it very normal. When he was at 4 Cataclysm, he could already kill a 5 Cataclysm Kiliakosm Sovereign. Now that he had become a 5 Cataclysm Kiliakosm Sovereign, how could Kiliakosm Sovereign Ethereal dare to fight Lin Feng? That would purely be a death wish. No matter how much he coveted the Troll Key, Kiliakosm Sovereign Ethereal could only choose to leave. Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart. It's fine now. Lin Feng looked at Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart and frowned. Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart's current state was not very good. Back then, they had both become 4 Cataclysm Kiliakosm Sovereigns together. Now that an epoch had passed, Lin Feng had already passed the epical cataclysm and became a 5 Cataclysm Kiliakosm Sovereign. It was also time for Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart to pass the epical cataclysm. However, Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart still had not passed the epical cataclysm. Now, he was plagued by cataclysmic power. His epical cataclysm might erupt at any moment and reduce him to ashes. Thank you for coming from afar to help, Chaos Kiliakosm Sovereign. Otherwise, the consequences today would be unthinkable. Kiliakosm Sovereign Sky Heart bowed sincerely to Lin Feng to express his gratitude. Kiliakosm Sovereign Sky Heart, why haven't you undergone the fifth epical cataclysm yet? Lin Feng could not help but ask. Kiliakosm Sovereign Sky Heart glanced at Lin Feng. He had already sensed the aura of a 5 cataclysm Kiliakosm Sovereign on Lin Feng. Hence, he felt even more bitter. He could only smile weakly and say, how hard is it to survive the 5th epical cataclysm? I can't compare to Chaos Kiliakosm Sovereign, who is so powerful that you can control many small Kiliakosms. I can only accumulate step by step. However, after accumulating for an epoch, I've obtained very few small Kiliakosms. At the very least, they're far from enough for me to survive the 5th epical cataclysm. If I try to survive the epical cataclysm by force, I'll only die. That's why I took the risk to enter the Troll Forbidden Zone, hoping to obtain the small Kiliakosm origin in the Troll Forbidden Zone. I just didn't expect to be hunted down by Kiliakosm Sovereign Ethereal as soon as I obtained the Troll Key. Lin Feng came to a realization. He remembered that back when he had just entered the medium Kiliakosm, Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart was great and powerful. In Lin Feng's eyes, he could be considered a great expert. But now, without realizing it, he had long surpassed Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart. In fact, Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart's cultivation was difficult now, and he was encountering hardships at every moment. Even if he could survive the 5th epical cataclysm, the 6th epical cataclysm would probably put him in imminent danger. However, Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart was very lucky. It seemed like he could always obtain huge benefits from entering forbidden zones. For example, Lin Feng also knew that this troll key was a necessary item to enter the core of the Troll Forbidden Zone. How much more small Kiliakosm origin are you lacking, Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart? Lin Feng pondered for a moment and asked. Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart's eyes lit up, filled with excitement. He hurriedly said, in the span of an epoch, I've already accumulated 400 portions of small Kiliakosm origin. Normally, about 600 portions of small Kiliakosm origin are needed to survive the 5th epical cataclysm. Even if it's a little special, 700 portions of small Kiliakosm origin will definitely be enough. 700 portions? Lin Feng thought about himself. He seemed to have consumed 1,000 portions of small Kiliakosm origin, but he had a space-time physique which was different from other Kiliakosm sovereigns. The other 4 cataclysm Kiliakosm sovereigns would not need to consume 1,000 portions of small Kiliakosm origin at all. Here are 300 portions of small Kiliakosm origin. Give me the troll key as an exchange. Lin Feng pondered for a long time. He took out 300 portions of small Kiliakosm origin and handed them to Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart. These 300 portions of small Kiliakosm origin were firstly for the troll key, and secondly, to repay the help Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart had openly or covertly given Lin Feng after entering the medium Kiliakosm. Lin Feng was not an ungrateful person. Moreover, Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart could be considered his only good friend in the medium Kiliakosm. Naturally, he would not just stand aside and watch as Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart was burned to ashes by the epical cataclysm. Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart immediately became excited. How could he not be excited about 300 portions of small Kiliakosm origin? After accumulating for a full epoch, he had only accumulated 400 portions of small Kiliakosm origin. As soon as Lin Feng made an offer, he almost doubled the amount of small Kiliakosm origin directly. To the current Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart, this was life-saving. Chaos Kiliakosm Sovereign, I know that the troll key is not worth so much small Kiliakosm origin. I won't say anything unnecessary. In the future, if you need anything, I will definitely do my best without hesitation. Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart was grateful to Lin Feng from the bottom of his heart. His efforts back then were not in vain. He had indeed helped Lin Feng a lot, both openly and covertly. Although they were not considered huge favors, they were ultimately favors. Now he had finally been repaid for them. Hurry up and return to the Sky Heart Dojo and focus on passing the 5th epical cataclysm. Lin Feng saw that Kiliakosm's sovereign Sky Heart's condition was really not very good. His epical cataclysm could erupt at any moment. Ha ha ha, Chaos Kiliakosm Sovereign, don't worry. This time, I'll definitely be able to survive the 5th epical cataclysm. Keep the troll key, Chaos Kiliakosm Sovereign. To me, even with the troll key, entering the core of the troll forbidden zone is probably useless. However, the Chaos Kiliakosm Sovereign is different. I hope you will have great gains. With that, Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart turned around and transformed into a stream of light, leaving the troll forbidden zone. Looking at the departing back of Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart, Lin Feng's expression was a little solemn. If Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart was already in such a sorry state for the 5th epical cataclysm, what about the 6th or even 7th time? Cultivation ultimately depended on oneself. Lin Feng could help for a time but not forever. Perhaps in the 6th epical cataclysm, if Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart did not encounter a huge opportunity, he would probably not be able to survive it no matter what. For a moment, a trace of melancholy also appeared in the depths of Lin Feng's heart. On the path of cultivation, how many people could always accompany him? Forget it, I'm a little emotional. Cultivation is a lonely path to begin with. Back in the small Kiliakosm, who else could keep up with me? Lin Feng shook his head and stopped thinking about the matter of Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart. In future cultivation, everyone had their own destiny and opportunities. If they could not pass the trial, it would mean that their cultivation was not up to par. No matter how much he helped, he could not help Kiliakosm Sovereign Skyheart to cultivate all the way to the level of a medium Kiliakosm Sovereign. If one did not become a medium Kiliakosm Sovereign, they would eventually die. It was inevitable. With the troll key in hand, Lin Feng thought for a moment and did not hesitate for long. He stepped directly into the troll forbidden zone. Buzz. Lin Feng stepped into the troll forbidden zone. It was as if he had fallen into a quagmire all of a sudden. He felt a little restrained and unable to unleash his power. There was an invisible restraining force in all directions. Troll. Lin Feng thought of the legends regarding the troll forbidden zone. The troll forbidden zone was also one of the top 10 forbidden zones in the medium Kiliakosm. But this forbidden zone was a little different from the others. This forbidden zone had a legend about a terrifying creature called Troll. No one knew where the troll came from. They only knew that whenever the troll appeared, it had boundless strength and was incomparably massive, as if it could devour everything. Its stomach contained another world, and was almost comparable to countless small Kiliakosms. Moreover, the spaces overlapped, and could completely digest all treasures and power. Hence, the appearance of the troll back then even caused a stir. Even Kiliakosm sovereigns above the 7 cataclysm could not do anything to the troll. In the end, it was the medium Kiliakosm sovereigns who killed the troll. However, the massive body of the troll was also left behind from then on. After being studied by the medium Kiliakosm sovereigns for many years, it was left in the medium Kiliakosm, and gradually became a forbidden zone. As for why there was small Kiliakosm origin in the troll forbidden zone, the reason was very simple. Actually, small Kiliakosm origin could not be produced in the troll forbidden zone. There was small Kiliakosm origin because of those Kiliakosm sovereigns who had ventured into the troll forbidden zone. After they died, the small Kiliakosm origin would not dissipate in the troll forbidden zone, so it remained. Kiliakosm sovereigns who dared to venture into the troll forbidden zone must be Kiliakosm sovereigns above the 4 cataclysm. There was a lot of small Kiliakosm origin. Hence, as time passed, the troll forbidden zone became a relatively popular forbidden zone, attracting many Kiliakosm sovereigns. However, the mortality rate was also very high. After all, the troll forbidden zone was actually the corpse of the troll. The stomach of the troll was in the forbidden zone. Back then, the troll could devour even a 7 cataclysm Kiliakosm sovereign in one gulp. This was enough to show that the stomach of the troll contained a grand universe and was extraordinarily powerful. Even if it had already fallen, those who were accidentally trapped in the stomach of the troll would still die. The medium kiliocosm sovereigns had left the troll corpse in the medium kiliocosm directly, and it had even become a forbidden zone. Their plans and motive were unknown. Swish! Suddenly, a faint light silently and instantly collided fiercely with Lin Feng's body. The power of his small kiliocosm was actually completely unable to stop it. It entered the small kiliocosm like an indestructible needle. Fortunately, the capacity of Lin Feng's small kiliocosm was too massive. It directly suppressed this miraculous power, before gradually wearing it down and causing it to dissipate completely. This power seems to be the power in the troll's body? Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. This power was too terrifying. It had to be known that there was only one wisp. If this was the power in the troll's body, it would not just be a strand, but an overwhelming force. How could Lin Feng resist it? Forget about Lin Feng, even a 7-cataclysm kiliocosm sovereign was powerless to resist it. No wonder when the troll appeared, even kiliocosm sovereigns above the 7-cataclysm were not its match. The troll had devoured numerous 7-cataclysm sovereigns one by one. None of those who were devoured survived. Before this terrifying power, neither small kiliocosms nor any supreme treasure could withstand its corrosion. Even a single wisp could easily break through the membrane of Lin Feng's internal small kiliocosm. This was enough to show how miraculous this power was. The troll is really different. Lin Feng's heart tensed. After he became a 4-cataclysm kiliocosm sovereign, he had even killed a 5-cataclysm kiliocosm sovereign, and now he had even become a 5-cataclysm kiliocosm sovereign. Lin Feng had thought that he had seen through the essence of the medium kiliocosm. It was as if the entire world no longer held any secrets for Lin Feng. Even the medium kiliocosm sovereigns were only powerful kiliocosm sovereigns. They were stronger, but there was no fundamental difference. But now, the appearance of the troll made Lin Feng's heart skip a beat. Where did the troll come from? Why was its strength so terrifying? Moreover, its power system was completely different from the small kiliocosm and the medium kiliocosm. It seemed like there were some mysterious things beyond the medium kiliocosm and the small kiliocosm. They were unfathomable as mirages and illusions. This world was still very mysterious. It was not as Lin Feng had imagined, where the medium kiliocosm was the only world. Perhaps after becoming a medium kiliocosm sovereign, I'll have a rough understanding of it. Lin Feng also became vaguely excited. It was not about cultivation, but about the unknowns of the world. He had the spirit of adventure. No matter how dangerous a place was, he wanted to venture there. The troll key doesn't seem to belong to the troll. Rather, it seems to be a treasure refined by kiliocosm sovereigns. It's very likely a treasure refined by the medium kiliocosm sovereign. Lin Feng looked at the troll key in his hand. The kiliocosm sovereign's forging style on it was very distinct. There was no mistake. Soon, Lin Feng flew to the end of the troll forbidden zone. In reality, this was not the end. Instead, huge doors appeared one after another, and there seemed to be a miraculous array. No one could bypass it, not even a 7-cataclysm kiliocosm sovereign. One could only rely on troll keys to open these doors and enter. Lin Feng guessed that these doors were refined by the medium kiliocosm sovereigns. Moreover, the medium kiliocosm sovereigns had distributed some troll keys separately. In reality, they encouraged kiliocosm sovereigns to explore the troll forbidden zone. This meant that there were actually benefits in the troll forbidden zone, and not just the small kiliocosm origin left behind by those kiliocosm sovereigns after their deaths. However, apart from the small kiliocosm origin, what else was beneficial to the kiliocosm sovereigns? Lin Feng did not know where these doors led, but he absolutely did not dare to underestimate the troll forbidden zone. Fortunately, space-time power could still be used here. In other words, if Lin Feng encountered any danger, he could use space-time power to leave immediately. Even so, Lin Feng did not dare to let his guard down. After all, the wisp of dark power he had encountered previously was simply pervasive, and could enter his internal small kiliocosm in an instant. If there was too much of it, Lin Feng could not guarantee that he could resolve it all. Hence, even with the river of spacetime, Lin Feng had to be careful. Otherwise, if he fell into danger due to carelessness, the gains would not make up for the losses. The spacetime power could only bring Lin Feng out of the troll forbidden zone, but could not expel the dark power that had entered his internal small kiliacosm. Hence, spacetime power was not omnipotent. Lin Feng had to be careful about everything himself. There were a total of 9 doors here. Lin Feng took a closer look, but could not see any difference. Hence, after some thought, he finally chose the door in the middle. A single troll key could only open 1 door. Lin Feng placed the troll key close to the door. Immediately, the patterns on the troll key emitted bursts of golden light, illuminating the door from afar, before completely fusing together. Rumble. This door also opened with a bang, revealing the dark and deep other side within. Lin Feng took a deep breath. Then, without any hesitation, he stepped through the door. In the depths of the distant void, in an unknown space, 3 figures seemed to be cultivating in the dark. Swoosh! Suddenly, the 3 of them opened their eyes. Someone has used the troll key to enter again. Over the years, we've distributed dozens of troll keys in succession. About dozens of kiliacosm sovereigns above the 4 cataclysm entered as well. Unfortunately, the number of people who can leave alive can be counted on one hand. Let me see which kiliacosm sovereign entered this time. It's actually the Chaos Kiliacosm Sovereign. That very interesting little fellow. The Chaos Kiliacosm Sovereign? He has comprehended the principle of spacetime, and there are even traces of the spacetime imprint on his body. Looks like he must have obtained the spacetime gate left behind by Dawn. Chun left behind many spacetime gates, but how many people can really comprehend the principle of spacetime? Only this Chaos Kiliacosm Sovereign has comprehended the principle of spacetime. The few of us old fellows can't do anything about the principle of spacetime either. We've only dabbled in it slightly. This Chaos Kiliacosm Sovereign has great destiny, great opportunities, and great providence. I wonder if he can give us a surprise by entering the troll gate. We've been studying the troll for a long time. We've even killed it, but we still can't figure out how it came to our medium kiliacosm. However, it definitely isn't a life form of the medium kiliacosm, let alone a product of the void. Moreover, there's an aura of some form of origin on it. Perhaps it comes from the great kiliacosm we've been pursuing painstakingly, or the origin realm. Where the troll came from is just our guess. Its origin is a mystery. Although we can kill it, we cannot solve the mystery on it. We established the troll gates to involve more kiliacosm sovereigns, hoping to solve the mystery on the troll. I hope Chaos Kiliacosm Sovereign won't disappoint us. The gazes of these 3 medium kiliacosm sovereigns seem to have pierced through layers of space to land on the familiar figure inside the troll gate. There was a trace of anticipation in their eyes. Crunch. As soon as he walked through the troll gate, Lin Feng sensed a strange trace of dark energy. This time it was a trace, not a wisp. This trace of dark energy was more than 10 times stronger than the previous trace. Hence, Lin Feng did not dare to underestimate it at all. Moreover, he was already prepared, and dodged almost by inches. Swoosh! Lin Feng heaved a long sigh of relief. That was really close just now. He had almost had to withstand a trace of dark energy in his internal small kiliacosm. Perhaps that was the power of the troll. Just a trace of it contained a terrifying energy, and it was very dangerous. Ha! Suddenly, Lin Feng raised his head and looked at the void. For some reason, he had a feeling that he was being spied on. Felt like someone was spying on him. However, when he checked carefully, he did not find anything. Lin Feng could only attribute it to the special environment in the troll gate, which gave him this feeling of being spied on. This also made him even more cautious. The troll gate was filled with danger. He had to be careful. Otherwise, he might follow in the footsteps of the other kiliacosm sovereigns. Lin Feng continued to explore. This place was pitch black. He felt confined at every moment. Moreover, there seemed to be a strange power corroding his small kiliacosm at all times. Swish, swish, swish. Traces of troll power flashed again. Lin Feng even boldly used the power of his small kiliocosm in an attempt to resist or even capture it. However, when his small kiliocosm power came into contact with the troll power, it instantly disintegrated, and he had almost no ability to resist. Even if Lin Feng increased the small kiliocosm power, the outcome was the same. It was as if this troll power completely countered the kiliocosm sovereign's small kiliocosm power. However, apart from small kiliocosm power, what other abilities did the kiliocosm sovereigns have? No wonder the troll forbidden zone is one of the most dangerous forbidden zones in the medium kiliocosm. It's indeed very dangerous. If someone isn't careful and encounters more troll power, only death awaits them. Lin Feng's heart was heavy. He did not expect the troll forbidden zone to be so dangerous. In the outside world, the four cataclysm hegemons could get whatever they wanted. No matter the environment, they could control their own fate. At the very least, they had certain choices, such as escaping or leaving. However, the troll forbidden zone was different, especially after entering the troll gate. The high and mighty hegemonial kiliocosm sovereigns no longer had the ability to control their own fates. In fact, it would depend entirely on luck. If one encountered too much troll power, only death awaited them. This kind of inability to control his own fate and relying entirely on luck made Lin Feng very uncomfortable. Lin Feng even wanted to leave the troll gate directly. With the amount of small kiliocosm origin Lin Feng had obtained, there was no need for him to take risks in the troll gate at all. He could easily survive the 6th epical cataclysm. Only the 7th epical cataclysm would be relatively difficult. However, there were still 2 epochs left, and Lin Feng could slowly accumulate it. However, at the thought that the troll key was not so easy to obtain, and that the troll forbidden zone was filled with mysteries everywhere, Lin Feng was also a little interested. Hence, after weighing the pros and cons for a long while, Lin Feng still decided to give it a try first. Lin Feng thought of all kinds of methods to counter with the troll power. He tried to use the rules. The various rules in his small kiliocosm actually had some effect when used against the troll power. However, the effects were not very obvious. Only the principle of spacetime could cause substantial damage to the troll power. For example, Lin Feng could even use the principle of spacetime to reverse the troll power and make it disappear in the river of spacetime. Of course, Lin Feng also had to endure a huge burden. Even if there was only a trace, the burden on Lin Feng's small kiliocosm was considerable. However, Lin Feng could finally heave a sigh of relief. At least he had found a way to deal with the troll power and did not rely entirely on luck. He had finally taken his own fate into his own hands. Only after obtaining some assurance did Lin Feng continue advancing. The space in the troll gate was huge. Originally, there were countless spaces in the troll's stomach. However, after the troll died, these spaces also collapsed and dissipated one after another. All kinds of storms and troll power were found everywhere. Lin Feng encountered a few storms that contained the terrifying troll power. There was a lot of troll power, but relying on the river of spacetime, Lin Feng managed to avoid them by a hair's breadth. Lin Feng stayed in the troll forbidden zone for a long time. Unknowingly, 10 years had passed. He had been searching aimlessly, but found nothing. Just as Lin Feng's patience was about to run out, he finally made a new discovery. The aura of a small kiliocosm. There's the aura of a small kiliocosm here, and it's a small kiliocosm that has collapsed. Lin Feng flew forward along the aura. Soon, he saw a dilapidated small kiliocosm. It was filled with the aura of death, and there was no longer any sign of life. This meant that this was a small kiliocosm that was about to disappear. However, such a small kiliocosm contained an aura that excited Lin Feng. It was small kiliocosm origin. Small kiliocosm origin. When Lin Feng sensed this aura, he immediately became excited. Why did he take the risk in the troll gate? Perhaps the troll gate was very mysterious and contained some huge secrets, but that was not Lin Feng's goal. He had only one goal, and that was the small kiliocosm origin. To any small kiliocosm sovereign, be it a 4 cataclysm or a 7 cataclysm kiliocosm sovereign, there was only one treasure that was precious above all, and that was the small kiliocosm origin. Now, Lin Feng had finally seen a collapsed small chiliocosm that even contained small chiliocosm origin. How could he not be excited? Hence, Lin Feng quickly charged over and entered the collapsed small chiliocosm. Judging from the scale of the small chiliocosm, it was probably a 4-cataclysm chiliocosm sovereigns. It contained traces of the aura of cataclysmic power. However, since the small chiliocosm had collapsed, the cataclysmic power naturally dissipated. This should be a 4-cataclysm chiliocosm sovereign facing the epical cataclysm. He had obtained a troll key and was prepared to try his luck at the troll gate. In the end, however, he died to the troll power. Lin Feng had personally experienced how terrifying troll power was. It was simply pervasive. Small chiliocosms were not its match at all. Only his principle of spacetime or the power of some potent rules could slightly limit and counter the troll power. In this dead small chiliocosm, Lin Feng discovered small chiliocosm origin. There were exactly 300 portions of it. This was already quite good. Perhaps a fraction of it had dissipated after so long. However, 300 portions of chiliocosm origin were enough to make up for the small chiliocosm origin that Lin Feng had given to chiliocosm sovereign Skyheart previously. Now, the small chiliocosm origin in Lin Feng's body had reached a total of 2,000 portions. Having 2,000 portions of small chiliocosm origin was barely enough to survive the 6th epical cataclysm. However, Lin Feng didn't venture into the troll gate just to survive the 6th epical cataclysm. He was preparing for the 7th epical cataclysm. The small chiliocosm origin required for the 7th epical cataclysm was 10 times that of the 6th epical cataclysm, or even more. It was why many 6-cataclysm chiliocosm sovereigns stopped short of becoming a 7-cataclysm chiliocosm sovereign. Keep searching. Lin Feng carefully plundered this small chiliocosm, but did not find any more small chiliocosm origin. He could only continue searching. It was said that dozens of chiliocosm sovereigns had fallen in the troll gate and never returned. How much small chiliocosm origin could be plundered? Lin Feng did not even dare to imagine it. Of course, the prerequisite was that he could find these chiliocosm sovereigns. Lin Feng continued forward. As he had experienced now, as soon as he encountered troll power, he immediately used the river of spacetime to slowly wear it down. Then, he sensed for small chiliocosms at every moment. He knew that wherever there was a small chiliocosm, there would definitely be small chiliocosm origin. Swish! Just as Lin Feng was carefully searching for the small chiliocosm, a ghostly light suddenly flashed. The speed was unbelievable. Moreover, it seemed to be incomparably compatible with the environment in the troll gate, making it impossible to guard against. River of spacetime. Lin Feng's reaction was extremely fast. He sensed a huge crisis, so he immediately entered the river of spacetime. Boom! The ghostly light collided hard into the river of spacetime. This time, Lin Feng saw the ghostly light's true appearance clearly. It was actually a porcupine-like creature with spikes all over its body. Moreover, the spikes even emitted a trace of troll power. That's right, it was troll power and it was very rich. What kind of monster is this? Lin Feng was bewildered. This monster did not look very big, and was even a little small, but it was extremely ferocious. Moreover, in this special environment and with troll power, once it approached a chiliocosm sovereign, it was almost unrivaled and impossible to guard against. Imagine how much damage such a monster would cause to the small chiliocosm by using troll power to tear through the small chiliocosm membrane at once and charge into it. It could even tear apart a chiliocosm sovereign's small chiliocosm in the blink of an eve. However, this ferocious monster was not so lucky to encounter Lin Feng. Buzz! Lin Feng waved his hand, and time began to reverse. Immediately, Lin Feng saw with his own eyes that the ferocious monster that was baring its fangs and brandishing its claws just now could not withstand the power of time. As time continued to reverse, its body began to degenerate rapidly. Lin Feng almost understood the monster's growth process from its constant degeneration. Finally, the monster transformed into a worm-like being and disappeared completely, reduced to the purest wisp of troll power. This monster was born from the troll power. Or rather, it was born from the troll power as its foundation, and lived in the troll's body. Could this be similar to roundworms in the troll? Or microorganisms? A strange and bold thought flashed through Lin Feng's mind. This was indeed a strange and bold hypothesis, but on careful deduction, it did not seem impossible. After all, the size of the troll was simply too huge. Even the roundworms or microorganisms in its body were very terrifying compared to controllers. In particular, it was born from troll power and was born with troll power. It was rather difficult for Kiliacosm sovereigns to deal with it. Wherever such monsters appear, there might be Kiliacosm sovereigns. A thought came to Lin Feng. Such a monster would not appear for no reason, and it was very aggressive, displaying a clear sense of exclusivity. Perhaps it had appeared because other Kiliacosm sovereigns had disturbed its life. After Lin Feng dealt with this monster, he searched carefully. With this search, he really found something. Lin Feng found 2 collapsed small Kiliacosms not far away, both emitting an aura of death. They seemed like they had collapsed for a long time. According to the aura of these 2 small Kiliacosms, Lin Feng estimated that one of them was a 4 cataclysm Kiliacosm sovereign, and the other was a 5 cataclysm Kiliacosm sovereign. In the small Kiliacosms, Lin Feng successfully found small Kiliacosm origin. Lin Feng gained very little in the small Kiliacosm of the 4 cataclysm Kiliacosm sovereign. He had actually found 200 portions of small Kiliacosm origin. Most of it had probably disappeared with time. In the small Kiliacosm of the 5 cataclysm Kiliacosm sovereign, Lin Feng found a total of 800 portions of small Kiliacosm origin. This time he could be considered to have gained a lot. He found a total of 1,000 portions of small Kiliacosm origin. Including the original small Kiliacosm origin in Lin Feng's body, Lin Feng had a total of 3,000 portions of small Kiliacosm origin. It was more than enough for him to survive the 6th epical cataclysm. Even if he faced the 6th epical cataclysm now, Lin Feng could easily survive it. As expected, gains coexist with danger. Lin Feng was very satisfied. If other Kiliacosm sovereigns knew that Lin Feng had obtained a total of 1,300 portions of small Kiliacosm origin in a short period of time in the Troll Gate, there was no knowing how envious they would be. However, Lin Feng also knew very well that although it seemed like it was very easy for him to obtain the small Kiliacosm origin, it was only for him. As for the other Kiliacosm sovereigns, just the ubiquitous troll power was difficult to deal with, let alone that ferocious monster just now. Even a 6 cataclysm Kiliacosm sovereign probably could not deal with that monster just now. Only Lin Feng, who possessed the principle of spacetime, could deal with that monster, and thus obtain great gains. What's that? When Lin Feng searched near the 2 small Kiliacosms, he realized that strands of troll power were gathered in a void. There was a vortex spinning continuously there. The vortex emitted an unfathomable aura. Sometimes, troll power would enter the vortex from outside and disappear. Lin Feng vaguely sensed that this vortex should be a secret space somewhere. It was very normal for such a special space to exist in the Troll Gate. Originally, the troll's body was composed of countless layers of space. No one knew what was in these spaces, but this might contain the secret of the troll. Lin Feng was a little tempted. However, he could not guarantee that the space in this vortex was completely free of danger. After all, the troll power had all entered the vortex. However, Lin Feng was a little unwilling to leave just like that. The troll had already been dead for an unknown number of epochs. The fact that this space had not collapsed after so long was enough to prove its uniqueness. Perhaps there was something good inside. Lin Feng did not want to miss it. I have the river of spacetime and the principle of spacetime. No matter how dangerous it is, staying alive shouldn't be a problem. Lin Feng hesitated for a long time, but in the end, he decided to go in and give it a try. He wanted to see what was so special about this unique space. In an unknown space in the distant void, 3 medium Kiliacosm sovereigns were constantly monitoring the situation inside the Troll Gate. Seeing Lin Feng step into the vortex, all 3 medium Kiliacosm sovereigns frowned slightly. There are tens of thousands of spaces in the troll's body. Which space did he enter? That space in the troll's body. Even we can't spy on it. Back then, after studying the troll's corpse for so long, we learned a lot about most of the spaces in the troll's body, but there's still a fraction of the spaces that we don't know about. Perhaps this is his opportunity. The troll's origin is a mystery, and we haven't found any specific information about it. That's why we left the troll's corpse in the medium kiliacosm. To let more kiliacosm sovereigns enter to try their luck. Perhaps then we can come into contact with the core secret of the troll. The chaos kiliacosm sovereign has rashly entered the space in the troll's body. Even we can't spy on him. If anything happens to him, no one can help him. It'll depend on his luck. The 3 medium kiliacosm sovereigns were high and mighty. Forget about Lin Feng, a 5 cataclysm kiliacosm sovereign. They would not take even 7 cataclysm or 8 cataclysm kiliacosm sovereigns too seriously. There were many 7 cataclysm and 8 cataclysm kiliacosm sovereigns in the medium kiliacosm, but how many people could really become medium kiliacosm sovereigns in the end? After so many years, only the 3 of them had become the medium kiliacosm sovereigns. However, Lin Feng had mastered the principle of spacetime. This was the focus of the 3 medium kiliacosm sovereigns. But for now, they could only place their hopes on Lin Feng's providence. After all, there were too many secrets in the troll's body. Even the 3 medium kiliacosm sovereigns could not figure them out. Swoosh! Lin Feng entered the vortex. The moment he entered the vortex, he had already used the river of spacetime to envelop himself. As soon as he entered the vortex, Lin Feng felt as if he had entered another space all of a sudden. His surroundings turned dark, and there was a faint, oppressive aura. However, the strange thing was that, after entering this space, the feeling of being spied on disappeared. Lin Feng did not have time to think about the reason carefully. He quickly observed the situation in this space. This place was empty and seemed to be very dark. Wisps of troll power entered and quickly flew in a certain direction. Lin Feng hesitated for a moment, but eventually followed the direction of this troll's power. He wanted to see where this troll's power had flown to, and what was attracting this troll's power. Soon, Lin Feng saw where the troll power went. In the void, there was actually a treasure that looked like a mirror floating in the air, absorbing strands of troll power. Moreover, it emitted a special fluctuation that constantly attracted the troll power. This mirror was very, very large, almost covering half of the void. Even Lin Feng had a vague feeling of being sucked in when he looked at this mirror. He knew that this mirror was not simple. Swoosh! Lin Feng rushed to the mirror. He extended his hand and grabbed hard at the mirror. Buzz! The mirror actually shook violently, repelling Lin Feng's hand at once. Moreover, an image vaguely appeared in the mirror. It was a face, a huge face. Despicable life forms, insidious and cunning cultivators. You still came here in the end. You've already killed my true form. I just want to go home. Why must you be so ruthless? This face did not look sinister or terrifying. Rather, there was a faint sense of grief and indignation in it. Ha! Lin Feng had been very nervous just now, thinking that some accident was about to happen. After all, this was the rather dangerous troll forbidden zone. However, when he saw the sad and angered face in the mirror, Lin Feng had a strange feeling. Lin Feng could understand what the stranger in the mirror was saying, but his tone was a little strange. Who are you? Why are you in the troll forbidden zone? Who am one? You despicable and insidious cultivators killed me and left my body in this desolate region. Yet you're asking me who I am. You're the troll. Lin Feng was shocked. Wasn't the troll long dead? Humph, that's right. I'm a troll. However, that's what you call me. In my homeland, I'm not a troll. I'm just an orphan who lost its wave. A downcast expression appeared on the troll's face. Many thoughts flashed through Lin Feng's mind. This was too shocking. It was rumored that the troll was extremely vicious and wreaked great damage in the medium kiliacosm, and even tried to destroy it. Why did this troll in front of him seem like a child now? It had not grown up at all, nor was it as vicious or sinister as rumored. Where did you come from? Lin Feng asked in a low voice. I don't know where I came from either. However, according to cultivators like you, I should have come from the origin realm or the great kiliacosm. In short, it's the place you've been searching for. Origin realm? The great Kiliacosm. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. He seemed to vaguely understand why the three medium Kiliacosm sovereigns wanted to attack the troll back then. However, did the three medium Kiliacosm sovereigns know that the troll was not dead yet? It still existed in such a special way. Where is the origin realm? Why did you appear in the medium Kiliacosm? Lin Feng continued to ask. The troll shook its head and said with a pained expression, "I don't know where the origin realm is either. I accidentally lost my way outside the origin realm. In fact, I couldn't find the way home at all. Originally, I came to your world just to find the way home, but cultivators like you are just too vicious. You attacked me as soon as you saw me. I had no choice but to fight back. In the end, I was trapped and killed by three powerful cultivators among you. Then why did you not die?" Die? There is no death in my homeland. Previously, I was indeed dead, but as long as there is a trace of troll power, I can revive. What has revived is only my consciousness. I know that those three powerful entities among you have been searching for my consciousness, so I can only hide here to prevent them from finding my consciousness. Lin Feng had already guessed that the three powerful cultivators the troll mentioned should be the three medium Kiliacosm sovereigns. Back when the troll came to the medium Kiliacosm, the other Kiliacosm sovereigns could not do anything to the troll at all. Only the three great medium Kiliacosm sovereigns defeated and even killed the troll in the end. However, perhaps even the three great medium Kiliacosm sovereigns did not know that the troll was so miraculous that its consciousness could revive even after death. To a certain extent, it could indeed be considered undying and indestructible. Lin Feng fell silent. This was the first time Lin Feng had heard of the great Kiliacosm and the origin realm. In reality, he had always had some doubts. Was the medium Kiliacosm sovereign the final destination of cultivation? However, he also had the principle of spacetime. He had never heard that the medium Kiliacosm sovereigns also had the principle of spacetime. Moreover, the medium Kiliacosm sovereigns always seemed to be pursuing something. However, these were all secrets, the greatest secret of the medium Kiliacosm, and Lin Feng naturally did not know. But now, Lin Feng finally knew what the three medium Kiliacosm sovereigns were pursuing. The origin realm, or rather, the great Kiliacosm. The three medium Kiliacosm sovereigns were all searching tirelessly for the origin realm, but they never found it. The appearance of the troll made the three medium Kiliacosm sovereigns overjoyed. They even proactively attacked and killed the troll. However, after studying the troll's corpse for some time, they found nothing. They also harbored a trace of hope in leaving the troll's corpse in the medium Kiliacosm. They hoped that the other Kiliacosm sovereigns could find the secret on the troll, or rather, a clue regarding the origin realm. All kinds of thoughts were in a mess in Lin Feng's mind. Now, with the troll's explanation, he gradually sorted them out. Although it was also a speculation, he felt that it was close to the mark. This was really a huge secret. Unexpectedly, Lin Feng encountered it. "Troll, since you're unwilling to tell the three medium Kiliacosm sovereigns about the origin realm, why did you take the initiative to tell me?" Lin Feng was still very clear-headed. He did not believe that it was because he left a good impression that the troll took the initiative to tell him about the origin realm. The troll's eyes were a little confused, but he still replied, "You have the aura of spacetime on you. This is the most mysterious, noble, and fundamental aura in my homeland. Your aura makes it impossible for me to abhor you. Instead, I feel very amiable. I believe that anyone with the aura of spacetime can eventually find the origin realm. I can tell you everything about the origin realm, but you have to promise me that after finding the origin realm in the future, you will bring me back to the origin realm. I want to go home." The troll's current behavior was really like a lost child. All he thought about day and night was going home. "I promise you that as long as we can find the origin realm, I will bring you there." Lin Feng did not hesitate and agreed immediately. If he could really go to the origin realm, he naturally would not refuse. After all, that was a place that even the medium Kiliacosm sovereigns dreamed of. "That's wonderful. I can follow you now." With that, the mirror where the troll was hiding quickly shrank to the size of a palm, landing directly on Lin Feng. "That's it? There's no need to take your body?" Body? No, there's no need. As long as I return to my homeland, it'll be a piece of cake for me to condense a body. I just need to protect my consciousness. Of course, even if this consciousness is annihilated, another consciousness will quickly be born in my corpse. It just takes some time. Lin Feng nodded. Life forms in the origin realm were really miraculous. They had the characteristic of being undying and indestructible. Troll, we are currently in your body. Can you sense the small kiliocosms in your body? It's the aura of cultivators. Be these cultivators dead or alive, I need them. Of course I can sense it. You want to find those cultivators? Of course. It's beneficial to me. It would be best if the troll could sense the auras of other kiliocosm sovereigns. After all, this was the body of the troll. Swoosh. Hence, the troll led Lin Feng and left this vortex directly. Once they left this vortex, the troll did not dare to speak lightly anymore. It explained to Lin Feng that the 3 kiliocosm sovereigns who had killed it back then were actually always monitoring this place. Could not expose itself. After Lin Feng left the vortex space, he immediately sensed that he was being spied on. His heart tensed, and he knew that it was very likely that the 3 medium kiliocosm sovereigns were spying on him. He had never thought of handing over the consciousness of the troll to the 3 medium kiliocosm sovereigns. After all, he could not figure out the attitude of the 3 medium kiliocosm sovereigns towards the troll. If they wanted to silence him, wouldn't he be courting his own death? Moreover, the troll's consciousness was very helpful to Lin Feng. At the very least, it allowed him to be like a fish in water in the troll forbidden zone, and there would be no danger at all. Finding small kiliocosms would also be a piece of cake for him. How could Lin Feng pass up such a huge benefit lightly? Boom! As Lin Feng left, the vortex space also collapsed rapidly. Lin Feng knew that the troll was destroying the evidence. It seemed like the troll was not as ignorant as it appeared. Huh? The vortex space has collapsed. The Chaos Kiliocosm Sovereign has also come out. He seems shocked. Did he find nothing? Perhaps. There are just too many dangers in the unknown spaces in the troll's body. Let's continue observing. It's probably not that easy for the Chaos Kiliocosm Sovereign to find the secret of the troll either. The 3 medium Kiliocosm Sovereigns did not discover anything amiss. They had all entered the spaces in the troll's body before, and even many of them. Most of the spaces were very dangerous. Hence, they were not surprised that Lin Feng had escaped the vortex space in such a sorry state. Lin Feng sensed that someone was spying constantly. Now that he knew that it was the 3 medium Kiliocosm Sovereigns, he became even more cautious. He did not even dare to take the initiative to contact the troll. Instead, the troll took the initiative to contact him and told him the locations of some small Kiliocosm sovereigns. Lin Feng even acted as usual and searched slowly, instead of directly charging in a certain direction. If he did that, he would definitely arouse suspicion. He would not hesitate even if he had to delay for a little longer. After 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years later, Lin Feng seemed to have discovered another dead small Kiliocosm. It was only a 4 cataclysm Kiliocosm sovereign, who had obtained 300 portions of small Kiliocosm origins. 50 years later, Lin Feng was lucky enough to discover another small Kiliocosm. It was the small Kiliocosm of a 5 cataclysm Kiliocosm sovereign, with a total of 1,000 portions of small Kiliocosm origin. After 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, Lin Feng stayed in the troll forbidden zone for a very, very long time, for a total of 10,000 years. Relying on the river of spacetime, he could almost evade any troll power, and the monsters born from troll power could not pose a threat to Lin Feng. Hence, he practically swept through one small Kiliocosm after another. In the end, Lin Feng discovered a total of 32 small Kiliocosms. Among these 32 small Kiliocosms, there were small Kiliocosms belonging to 4 cataclysm Kiliocosm sovereigns and 5 cataclysm Kiliocosm sovereigns, and even 2 small Kiliocosms belonging to 6 cataclysm Kiliocosm sovereigns. The gains were unimaginably great. He had obtained a total of 22,000 portions of small Kiliocosm origin. Including the previous 3,000 portions of small Kiliocosm origin, Lin Feng now had a total of 25,000 portions of small kiliocosm origin. If news of such a huge gain got out, it would be enough to attract the covetous and envious gazes of countless powerful kiliocosm sovereigns. More than 20,000 portions of small kiliocosm origin was enough to drive anyone insane. Hence, after Lin Feng had swept through most of them, he did not think of leaving the Troll Forbidden Zone immediately. Relatively speaking, it was actually safer in the Troll Forbidden Zone. Lin Feng made the decision. He planned to survive the 6th epical cataclysm in the Troll Forbidden Zone. This was an incomparably insane decision. Once he survived the 6th epical cataclysm, Lin Feng would have to face the 7th epical cataclysm. However, with the amount of small kiliocosm origin he had saved, even the 7th epical cataclysm did not seem to be a threat. The expressions of the 3 medium kiliocosm sovereigns were slightly dark. It's been 10,000 years. The Chaos Kiliocosm Sovereign has never entered other spaces in the Troll Gate. Instead, he focused on finding those small kiliocosms to obtain small kiliocosm origin. Isn't this very normal? The greatest goal of these small kiliocosm sovereigns is still to find small kiliocosm origin. As for everything else, they have to come after. Relying on the power of spacetime, the Chaos Kiliocosm Sovereign did not fear the troll power at all. Hence, apart from entering the troll spaces, he faced almost no danger in the Troll Forbidden Zone. In 10,000 years, he had swept through almost all the small kiliocosm origin inside. This is really unexpected. Is something wrong? I feel that things are going too smoothly for the Chaos Kiliocosm Sovereign. Smoothly? That seems to be the case, but he has the power of spacetime. What can stop him? He even wants to survive the 6th epical cataclysm in the Troll Forbidden Zone. How bold. Although he hasn't discovered the secret of the troll, I think if a 4th medium kiliocosm sovereign can be born in the medium kiliocosm, it will definitely be him. The 3 medium kiliocosm sovereigns were a little disappointed. There was no knowing when Lin Feng would become a medium kiliocosm sovereign. Moreover, even if he became a medium kiliocosm sovereign, would Lin Feng be able to find the origin realm? That would be a fool's dream. What they wanted the most now was clues about the origin realm. Unfortunately, Lin Feng's performance in the Troll Forbidden Zone did not seem to have satisfied the 3 medium kiliocosm sovereigns. Hence, the 3 medium kiliocosm sovereigns all closed their eyes and stopped paying attention to Lin Feng in the Troll Forbidden Zone. In the Troll Forbidden Zone, Lin Feng suddenly felt that the spying gaze seemed to have disappeared without a trace. Did they stop spying? Or are they disappointed? Lin Feng looked up at the void. He knew that there were 3 great medium kiliocosm sovereigns watching his every move. He was still very cautious in the Troll Forbidden Zone. Now that there were suddenly no more spying gazes, it meant that the 3 medium kiliocosm sovereigns had lost interest in him. At least they would not spy anymore. However, Lin Feng did not completely relax. He would not expose the troll's whereabouts lightly. Lin Feng inhaled deeply. It was always a good thing that no one was spying on him. He took a deep breath, slowly closed his eyes, and began to accelerate the time in his internal small kiliocosm. Buzz. The river of spacetime enveloped Lin Feng's small kiliocosm. Even the troll could sense the rapid passage of time in the small kiliocosm, giving it a feeling of familiarity. This was because time acceleration allowed the troll to sense the aura of its homeland. Lin Feng was already familiar with accelerating time. Hence, his internal small kiliocosm was also very stable. Even though he wanted to accelerate time for an epoch with Lin Feng's current ability, forget about an epoch, it would not be a problem for him to accelerate time for 10 epochs. As time passed, gradually, traces of the aura of cataclysmic power began to appear in Lin Feng's body. The 6th epical cataclysm was already approaching. Rumble. Finally, Lin Feng's entire body shook. From the depths of his internal small kiliocosm, an earth-shattering epical cataclysm surged over. It felt like a power that could destroy everything, sweeping through everything in a frenzy. It was as if it would reduce all resisting forces into ashes. Lin Feng had already faced many epical cataclysms. He was now a 5 cataclysm kiliocosm sovereign, and had faced 5 epical cataclysms before. Lin Feng had even faced the epical cataclysm in a small kiliocosm directly. However, no epical cataclysm before had ever been comparable to this one. This was the 6th epical cataclysm in his small kiliocosm. In particular, his spacetime physique was very strong, but so was the epical cataclysm. The mighty epical cataclysm destroyed everything. Lin Feng's small kiliocosm origin also repaired the small kiliocosm rapidly. He had sufficient small kiliocosm origin. No matter how much the epical cataclysm destroyed, it could be quickly repaired. While the epical cataclysm was wreaking havoc, Lin Feng kept recovering, and the small kiliocosm kept expanding. With every expansion, the core power of Lin Feng's internal small kiliocosm seemed to become even more stable. Moreover, it seemed to be communicating with the distant spacetime. Currently, Lin Feng had only grasped the principle of spacetime, or rather, a portion of it. He had yet to master the essence of spacetime and the true meaning of spacetime. As for comprehending spacetime, under normal circumstances, how could one comprehend the principle of spacetime? In reality, the best opportunity to comprehend it was actually the epical cataclysm. This was because every time the epical cataclysm occurred, the river of spacetime, as the core power of a small kiliocosm, would strengthen and undergo metamorphosis. It was the most suitable moment for comprehending the essence of spacetime. Hence, every time, Lin Feng would seize this rare opportunity to study spacetime, hoping to completely comprehend the essence of spacetime. However, every time he studied it, he felt how profound the principle of spacetime was. He would improve every time, but it felt like he was even further from the essence of spacetime every time. If he wanted to travel freely to the past, the future, or even sever his past and future self, making his true self the only one, with Lin Feng's current level of comprehension of the principle of spacetime, it was far from possible. However, at least Lin Feng knew the direction and could advance in that direction. The epical cataclysm in Lin Feng's body was still erupting violently, sweeping through and destroying everything. Meanwhile, Lin Feng's small kiliocosm origin was being consumed in a frenzy. 1 portion, 10 portions, 100 portions, 1,000 portions. In the blink of an eye, more than 1,000 portions of the small kiliocosm origin had been consumed, but the epical cataclysm did not subside at all. However, the small kiliocosm did not shake at all. This meant that Lin Feng's small kiliocosm could withstand the 6th epical cataclysm. At least, it would not collapse for the time being. After 1,100 portions, 1,300 portions, 1,500 portions, as more and more small kiliocosm origin was consumed, the tide of cataclysmic power of the epical cataclysm finally waned gradually. With Lin Feng's massive amount of small kiliocosm origin, the 6th epical cataclysm was nothing much. After 1,800, 2,000 portions. Finally, after Lin Feng consumed a total of 2,100 portions of small kiliocosm origin, his internal small kiliocosm completely stabilized. Compared to before, it had expanded by dozens or hundreds of times. Lin Feng felt an unprecedented power. 6 Cataclysm Kiliocosm Sovereign. This was the 6 Cataclysm Kiliocosm Sovereign. He was only 1 step away from becoming a 7 Cataclysm Hegemon. L still have about 23,000 portions of small kiliocosm origin left. It might just be enough for the 7th epical cataclysm. Looking at the massive amount of small kiliocosm origin in his internal small kiliocosm, Lin Feng was a bit hesitant. He was hesitating about whether he should directly pass the 7th epical cataclysm in one go. Once he survived the 7th epical cataclysm, he would become a 7 Cataclysm Kiliocosm Sovereign, an absolute overlord even in the medium kiliocosm. Being 7 Cataclysm or below were 2 completely different situations. However, Lin Feng also knew that it was not that simple to survive the 7th epical cataclysm. Under normal circumstances, the small kiliocosm origin required for the 7th epical cataclysm was at least 10 times that of the 6th epical cataclysm. 10 times was the minimum. As for Lin Feng, he had spent a total of 2,100 portions of small kiliocosm origin in the 6th epical cataclysm. In other words, if he wanted to survive the 7th epochal cataclysm, he would need at least 21,000 portions of small kiliocosm origin. However, that was the minimum. What if it was more than 10 times? There was no such thing as being too prepared for the 7th epochal cataclysm. Moreover, Lin Feng knew even better that the 7th epochal cataclysm was actually also a metamorphosis. It was a metamorphosis that was even more complete than the 4th epochal cataclysm. It was equivalent to another life transition. The 4th epochal cataclysm had given Lin Feng the spacetime physique. Then, what about the 7th epochal cataclysm? It was probably related to the river of spacetime. Once there was another huge metamorphosis, even Lin Feng's 23,000 portions of small kiliocosm origin would probably be far from enough. Hence, Lin Feng had to make more sufficient preparations. Having 23,000 portions of small kiliocosm origin was not safe. Then I'll leave first. Lin Feng did not want to keep staying in the troll forbidden zone either. It was not even that convenient to communicate with the troll, out of worry that the medium kiliocosm sovereigns were spying. Hence, Lin Feng directly used the river of spacetime and left the troll forbidden zone. Swoosh as Lin Feng stepped forward, he returned to the Chaos Dojo. The current Chaos Dojo could be considered to have a reputation that extended far and wide. It was very influential, second only to those Overlord-level dojos. When Lin Feng appeared in the Chaos Dojo, he sensed a familiar aura immediately. Kiliocosm Sovereign Sky Heart? Lin Feng sensed Kiliocosm Sovereign Sky Heart. However, the current Kiliocosm Sovereign Sky Heart was no longer in that decrepit state of being plagued by cataclysmic power. Instead, he was already spirited, and his entire body emitted a powerful aura. 5 Cataclysm. This was the aura of a 5 Cataclysm Kiliocosm Sovereign. Relying on the hundreds of portions of small kiliocosm origin Lin Feng had given him, Kiliocosm Sovereign Skyheart successfully survived the 5th epochal cataclysm and became a 5 Cataclysm Kiliocosm Sovereign. Congratulations, Kiliocosm Sovereign Skyheart. You have fulfilled your wish and become a 5 Cataclysm Kiliocosm Sovereign. A smile also appeared on Lin Feng's face. Haha! It's all thanks to the Chaos Kiliocosm Sovereign's help. Otherwise, how could I have survived the 5th epochal cataclysm? Kiliocosm Sovereign Skyheart was also very excited. He had finally survived the 5th epochal cataclysm. Although he was not confident that he could survive the 6th epochal cataclysm, there was still an epoch left, right? Who could say for certain that he would not be able to obtain enough small kiliocosm origin in an epoch? This was the case for ordinary kiliocosm sovereigns. It would basically be a blessing if they could survive one epochal cataclysm. They were unlike Lin Feng, who was already confident that he could survive the 6th epochal cataclysm when he had yet to pass the 5th epochal cataclysm. Even though he had survived the 6th epochal cataclysm, in reality, he was also somewhat confident in the 7th epochal cataclysm. Just now, Kiliocosm Sovereign Skyheart was still immersed in the joy of becoming a 5 Cataclysm Kiliocosm Sovereign, and had yet to observe Lin Feng carefully. But now he had already returned to his senses. Sensing Lin Feng carefully, he actually had a feeling that even made his heart palpitate. This is the aura of the 6th Cataclysm. Chaos Kiliocosm Sovereign, you've survived the 6th epochal cataclysm. With Kiliocosm Sovereign Skyheart's insight, it was naturally not difficult for him to tell that Lin Feng was already a 6th Cataclysm Kiliocosm Sovereign. How long had it been? Back when he saw Lin Feng in the Troll Forbidden Zone, Lin Feng was only a 5 Cataclysm Kiliocosm Sovereign. Now, after 10,000 years, he had become a 6 Cataclysm Kiliocosm Sovereign. This speed was simply terrifying. Didn't even Kiliocosm Sovereigns need an epoch to survive the epochal cataclysm? Only Lin Feng was the exception. Lin Feng smiled and said, "It's all thanks to that troll key of yours that I gained something in the Troll Forbidden Zone. Hence, I was lucky enough to survive the 6th epochal cataclysm." The troll key. Kiliocosm Sovereign Skyheart nodded. Actually, deep down, he was also happy for Lin Feng. Even though he had the troll key first, he knew very well that even if he opened the troll gate and entered, there was a high chance that he would die. It was impossible for him to gain anything much. The reason Lin Feng had gained so much was that he was powerful and had the support of the principle of spacetime. One had to recognize the reality. Kiliacosm Sovereign Skyheart was already satisfied with exchanging a troll key for a 5-cataclysm Kiliacosm Sovereign. However, he still persuaded Lin Feng, Chaos Kiliacosm Sovereign, don't try to survive the 7th epical cataclysm in advance. The 7th epical cataclysm is very different from the first 6. In the medium Kiliacosm, there are many 6-cataclysm Kiliacosm Sovereigns. Even though it's very difficult to become a 6-cataclysm Kiliacosm Sovereign, many Kiliacosm Sovereigns have still managed to become 6-cataclysm Sovereigns. However, there are very few 7-cataclysm Kiliacosm Sovereigns. It is very difficult for even 1 out of 10 6-cataclysm Kiliacosm Sovereigns to survive the 7th epical cataclysm and become a 7-cataclysm Kiliacosm Sovereign. The 7th epical cataclysm is even more difficult than imagined. Lin Feng nodded and said, I know my limits. I won't undergo the 7th epical cataclysm rashly. By the way, why did Kiliacosm Sovereign Skyheart come to the Chaos Dojo? Lin Feng asked Kiliacosm Sovereign Skyheart. At this moment, the Kiliacosm Sovereign Epic hurriedly said, Your Majesty, it's all thanks to Kiliacosm Sovereign Skyheart. He specially came to the Chaos Dojo to guard it. You've been gone for 10,000 years. Some restless Kiliacosm Sovereigns retreated one after another when they saw Kiliacosm Sovereign Skyheart guarding it. They didn't dare to have any ulterior thoughts. Oh, thank you for your trouble, Kiliacosm Sovereign Skyheart. Lin Feng thanked Kiliacosm Sovereign Skyheart sincerely. Haha, it was nothing. Since the Chaos Kiliacosm Sovereign has returned, I'll take my leave. Hence, Kiliacosm Sovereign Skyheart quickly turned around and left, returning to the Skyheart Dojo. Restless? Kiliacosm Sovereign Epic. Tell me, which Kiliacosm Sovereigns were restless? Seeing Kiliacosm Sovereign Skyheart leave, Lin Feng's expression gradually darkened. He had only disappeared for 10,000 years, and there were already people getting restless. No matter how one looked at it, this was a little abnormal. Wasn't it very normal for a Kiliacosm Sovereign to disappear for 10,000 years? Even disappearing for 1,000,000 years, 10 million years, or even billions of years was nothing. With his previous vicious reputation, who would dare to covet the Chaos Dojo? Kiliacosm Sovereign Epic smiled weakly and said, Your Majesty, you have to know that there are always some Kiliacosm Sovereigns who are already at the end of their rope. If they don't obtain enough small Kiliacosm origin, it's almost impossible for them to survive the next epical cataclysm. Our Chaos Dojo doesn't have much else, but we definitely have enough small Kiliacosms and small Kiliacosm origin. Hence, it's not surprising that some Kiliacosm Sovereigns would want to take the risk. Lin Feng pondered for a moment. This was indeed very normal. After all, which Kiliacosm Sovereign could maintain their restraint when they knew they were about to die? However, with Lin Feng's current strength, as long as it was not a 7-cataclysm overlord fighting here, he had nothing to fear. In fact, even if a 7-cataclysm Kiliacosm Sovereign attacked, they could only be certain of the outcome after actually fighting.